السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد: ولنذيقنهم من العذاب الأدنى دون العذاب الأكبر لعلهم يرجعون. وقال الله تعالى: إن ربك فعال لما يريد. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: أكثروا ذكر هادم اللذات عن الموت، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. The last 18 months or so, the world has seen, as we have seen a complete and a drastic change in the lifestyle because of the pandemic, because of the virus. And the social dealings have changed, the financial stability has changed. The gatherings that we used to have, even the religious gatherings, millions and billions of the people on the planet. So the lifestyle has changed in an unprecedented way that never had world seen such a global scale change or an effect in the lifestyle. So such a thing, is something that we as Muslims need to ponder upon and reflect. Because if you see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran mentions to us the stories of the previous nations and who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed through his adab, through the punishment, the people of Ad, the people of Thamud, and various other nations. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about those nations in the Quran, and Quran being the book of guidance, which means the reasons they earned the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dealt with them. That is a guidance for this ummah. And if you look into the destruction, the damage this pandemic has caused, you might think perhaps the intensity of the damage is even far more worse than what some of the nations that are even mentioned in the Quran has been mentioned. So we as Muslims, compared to non-Muslims, they will look at it as a virus that has come. We wait for the medicine, for the science to resolve it, and the world to be again better and normal. That's the view, that's how the people who do not believe in Allah will look at it. But we as Muslims, we will look into it through a different lens altogether. We will reflect upon it in the light of the Quran. And we will reflect and derive the lessons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran mentions that وَلَنُذِيقَنَّهُم مِّنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَى دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make them taste the punishment, the smaller punishment, before the bigger one. And what is the motive? What is the goal of that? The lesser punishment. The objective, the goal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so that they return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever a calamity or a difficulty is inflicted upon us in this world, this only is a lesser punishment to save us from the bigger punishment of the hereafter, which is far more intense and perhaps forever. Just like when you get a speeding ticket, it's not a business of the government to make money on your speeding ticket. It only is a means to save you from the bigger accident that you can cause harm to yourself or others. And when you get the ticket, later on after you get the ticket, you have a certain way of driving. You don't want to get it again. But the whole objective to punish you in a lesser way was to prevent you. So we as Muslims, we need to reflect upon it. This is a wake-up call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a wake-up call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the small punishment in this world is for us to لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so that we mend our ways and we turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through repentance, through tawbah. And then we resolve to live our lives in a way that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other thing that we have seen in this pandemic, that all of us have taken great measures to prevent ourselves to get in contact of the virus, to get in touch, to get the virus, to get the infection. All of us have refrained ourselves from doing the things, going to places, exposing ourselves. We have refrained ourselves doing the things that can cause us harm, so that we don't get in contact of virus, out of the fear of the pain or death. That's what we have done. And we have done it successfully if we are all in this room. So this tells us that we as human beings definitely have the capacity, we have the ability to refrain ourselves from the things that can cause us harm in this world and in the hereafter. We changed our lifestyle, we changed certain things in our way so that we don't cause ourselves harm. Now the same way needs to be adopted and implemented, and save ourselves from the greatest virus, which is the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like we have demonstrated that we can refrain from doing the things that can cause us harm, same thing needs to be extended, and we refrain ourselves from doing the things that can cause us spiritual harm. The things that can cause us to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever we got into contact of something suspicious, what we did, we immediately washed our hands, sanitized ourselves, quarantine and whatnot. If after taking care of not disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if we happen to make a sin, commit a sin, we sanitize ourselves by making tawbah, by repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately to remove the effect of the sin that comes on our heart. Because of these lockdowns, one thing that we did all amazingly, that we confined ourselves into homes, and we only left our homes out of necessity when there was really a need. You know, we did avoid everything that was actually something that you could avoid, and only in the times of when you really needed, you went out. Now this is great, because before the pandemic, we, our families, our kids, our friends would think staying home is a boring thing. It's something that shouldn't be done. But we have proven to ourselves that we can actually stay home, because you know what? Khutbah ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala, he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what are the means of salvation? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, وَلْيَسَعْكَ بَيْتُكَ, that may your home be spacious for you. In other words, that you be at home. Because when you are at home, you save yourself from many evils. The more you are out of the home, the more you are exposed to the evil, and the more you stay at home, more you are safe from evil. So just like we have done in the pandemic, we have set up a trend that we only leave when it is needed. We can do the same thing when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returns life back to normal. We can spend most of the time at home and only leave when this is needed, when you really need it, because at home we save ourselves. And similarly, we see that due to the restrictions, the facilities in the masjid, the wudu areas, they were all shut down. And what we did, whenever we came to masjid, we prepared ourselves at home. We walked to the masjid or drove to masjid, but we didn't use the facilities of the masjid. You know this, and it basically, we understand from this that before the pandemic, we were using the facilities of the masjid more than it was actually needed. And we can continue to do so after the pandemic, because if we do so, not only we bring savings to the masjid like water, utilities, cleaning resources, that's one aspect of it. While the facilities in the masjid have to be there for travelers, for people who are coming to masjid from a work break, or those who are doing i'tikaf in the masjid. But when you are coming from home, if you do it at home, you not only save the masjid resources, but at the same time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that the person who walks from his house to one of the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to pray salah, with every single step, one sin is erased and his rank is elevated. So this is the double bonus, that one side you are saving the masjid, the other side you are increasing the virtues. And in another narration, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that the person who prepares, who purifies himself, makes wudu, goes to the masjid, As in that state, in the state of purity, him walking to the masjid, his ajr, his reward is that of a haji in ihram. So these are quick things that we can benefit from, and we have done it. All we need to do is keep doing it. Similarly, because of the limitations and the restrictions of the social gatherings, in the masajid we stayed away from each other. We didn't get into the gossip or the conversation. Whenever we are in the masjid, because we are a little bit far away from our brothers on the side, we are focused on our ibadah. And Rasulullah ﷺ says that a time will come when people will congregate in the masjid for worldly affairs. لَيْسَ لِلَّهِ فِيهِمْ حَاجَةٌ فَلَا تُجَالِسُوهُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of those people, so do not be among those, don't sit among those. So one of the things that we need to bring into practice again is change our habits and make sure that when we are in the masajid of Allah, we are there connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disconnected from everything else. We connect ourselves to the Khaliq and disconnect ourselves from the makhluk. So something that we can do. One of the other things that we have done, all of us, including our sisters and mothers, is we covered our face. You see, now those sisters and mothers that generally cover their heads with hijab, in this year or so, they have also covered their faces. And they have shown it to you that, okay, it's doable. While we understand that the ulama have difference of opinion, that it is obligatory, not obligatory, but those who say it's not a must say this is good. Now, if you could do something which was good for so long, why not to continue that good for the rest of life? All of us want good in this life, in this world. Why not to see good in the hereafter as well? We don't lose anything. On the contrary, we only earn more and more pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the worldwide, the governments, the countries have displayed a great sort of responsibility by not being selfish, but by showing practically that we need to care for every single human being. That's why the laws were put into practice, that every single human being needs to be saved from this virus. CDC has been working tremendously, and we really thank them for their efforts. The governments, the local administration, they have been working to put into place to save all of us from harm. So saving myself, being selfish is not enough. Because if I only save myself and I don't care about the community around me, the environment around me, very soon a time will come that I also will be a victim. I also will be affected with this. So saving oneself is not enough. In pandemic, we have worried about our families. We have worried about children. We have worried about neighbors, friends. We have told them, go and get vaccinated. You go to a shopping mall, if you don't have a mask, they give it to you. So what they are doing is Amar bil Ma'ruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. So we understand that in order to build that health, you also have to work on the environment. You may be able to walk, but let me tell you, if it is windy outside, can you walk? We may be pious, you may be pious, you may have been in our lives, but if we do not make an effort on the environment outside, it's just a matter of the time. We may lose it, our generations may lose it. In order for ensuring that we and our generations, our kids walk on this deen till Yawm al-Qiyamah, it is very important. From this example, we can now understand that why to make worry and concern of the environment, of the community. And in fact, this is something among the first of the actions, among the first of the deeds that was done by Sahaba was what? Ad'u ila Allah. Invite people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Salah, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, as he became Muslim, he didn't engage himself in doing Hajj, in doing Qurbani, in doing Eid. The first thing he did, understood the responsibility is to bring others to the fold of Islam. That's what all the Sahaba did. Hajj became fard, Salah became fard later on. But the thing that was understood is implicit obligation. Being the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. We are the followers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what he did is what we have to do. Worry and concern for others. And when we do so, we also save our iman, we also save our generations. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the criterias of Allah destroying a nation, as mentioned in the Quran, مَا كَانَ لِيُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا مُصْلِحُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not destroy a nation until and unless there are people who are muslih, are the people who worry for themselves and also for others. Looking at, the ahwal, the conditions, while science and the medicine has been busy tiring themselves, and again we thank them, we appreciate all their effort doing the research, how to tackle the situation. One thing that we all realize, that this time has displayed the complete and all-encompassing control and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. World has fallen down upon its knees and confessing that if there is anyone in control of everything, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today is the time of technology. We are able to go to Mars and Moon. And the people and the mankind has thought himself to be, this is a great job, this is a great thing to be done. Yes, we do acknowledge that. But we as Muslims believe and have this yaqeen that we may advance in technology to any extent. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always powerful. We are always dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ayyuhan nas antumul fuqara'u ila Allah. That all the mankind is dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He himself is ghani, he doesn't need anyone. And it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is controlling everything. The doctors have been working day and night to resolve the problem, but they know that they are going to resolve it. But we know as Muslims, while we have to make an effort to resolve it by the means, at the same time, it only will get resolved through the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are making an effort what is in their control. We also make an effort what is in our control, but at the same time, we also make an effort to please the one who controls everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna rabbaka fa'alu lima yurid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, your Lord does whatever he intends. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decision. They are making an effort on something, we also need to make an effort, because eventually the solution will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inil hukmu illa lillah. That the decisions do not come from anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are harmed, if you are harmed with something, إِن يَمْسَسْكَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ بِضُرٍّ فَلَا كَاشِفَ لَهُ إِلَّا هُ. If you are harmed, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala harms you with something, فَلَا كَاشِفَ لَهُ إِلَّا هُ. No one can solve your problem but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِن يُرِدْكَ بِخَيْرٍ فَلَا رَادَ لِفَضْلِهِ. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends good for you, nobody can take that grace away from you. يُصِيبُ بِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to bring it, Allah brings it. So my dear brothers and sisters, what we learn is that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is going to remove this from us while we adopt all the means as sunnah. But our yaqeen, our reliance is on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the pandemic from the face of this earth. And we need to make dua for those who are making an effort day and night to make medicines for it. But the solution will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we as human beings cannot benefit ourselves. There's no way. We have nothing, no power in ourselves to benefit ourselves. قُلْ لَا أَمْلِكُ لَكُمْ لِنَفْسِي نَفْعًا وَلَا ضَرًّا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, say that I do not have any ability to benefit myself or harm myself. Illa mashallah, except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills for me. One of the things that we need to reflect upon, the last one, is millions of people have passed away. Within these 18 months, we are talking about maybe 4 million, 5 million people have passed away to this pandemic. And those included young and old, sick and healthy, ill and healthy, rich and poor. People of all the ages have died, have come to this. So this is a wake-up call, and we shouldn't be complacent about our death. Because of the luxury, because of the lifestyle we are living in, we get a feeling that our death is reality, but it is distant away, it's far away. But what we learn, that so many of our relatives, they died, they didn't know, and it included young people. Death is very close. Rasulullah ﷺ says that, the wisest among you, the wise among you is the one who prepares for the death before death comes. What is our preparation if angel of death is going to knock at my door tonight, tomorrow, day after, next month? Why do I have a feeling that, I'm going to live like 90? That's why Rasulullah ﷺ says that أكثروا ذكر هذه اللذات يعني الموت. That with abundance, remember your death, remember the destroyer of all the desires, that is death. The more we remember death, it is going to suppress our desires, the ill desires, the bad desires, and it is going to motivate us to prepare for the death. The more remembrance of the death, every day we think about it, it will take the love of dunya, it will take the greed of dunya, it will take things that we plan to do and we know they are not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only if we think tomorrow I will be dead, it will prevent us. So my dear brothers, this is an opportunity because we survived from this pandemic so far. Only Allah knows what is going to happen today and tomorrow. But we as Muslims need to pay heed and take lessons from it and move on into our lives with those lessons. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the ability to understand and to practice. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the spoils from the face of this earth. And most importantly, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to live our lives in a way that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the ways of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A quick announcement on behalf of ICK management. ICK Ikra Maktab we have started on September 13th. There are 16 students. We have started with 3 teachers, inshallah. It is Monday to Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. Registration is still open. If you will do late, then it will be hard to cover a student in the syllabus, inshallah. So only we are keeping registration open this week, inshallah. I request our community to register your kids in the program. If you have any questions, please talk to Brother Asad or Sister Basma. She is the principal of this maktab. ICK management is going to organize annual banquet 2021 at Golden Indian Banquet Hall in Kent, inshallah. We are inviting all of you for the banquet. Please put this date and time in your calendar, inshallah. All the details we are going to provide this week. For announcement of the King County Public Health, we require all the Musallis wear mask all the time while inside the masjid and bring your prayer mat also. Please follow all the COVID-19 rules, including hand sanitizing, avoid crowding, gathering, and other thing. If you are sick, please stay at home. And if you have any kind of like COVID symptoms, inshallah. 2-3 times we have already announced, please do not dump any used clothes or any other stuff in this masjid. If there is a need, inshallah, we can try to organize and we can go and pick and distribute, inshallah. But don't bring any clothes and anything. Even we are seeing lots of brothers bringing food and can. Some cans are already expired and some good. So I think without informing management, please do not bring any clothes or food. There is a Janazah Salah today after this prayer. Our brother Faisal Muhammad passed away yesterday. So inshallah, we are going to pray Janazah Salah immediately after this Salah in the gym building. So everybody is requested to come and join in that next building, inshallah. There is a dua request, and it is general dua request for everybody. Make dua for our brothers and sisters who are sick in our community. Delta variant is affecting everybody right now. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us Sifai Kamila and speedy recovery. And also for brother Faisal, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannatul Firdaus and Samrat Jannati. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد واهتدى ومن يعصهما فإنه قد غوى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد ولنذيقنهم من العذاب الأدنى دون العذاب الأكبر لعلهم يرجعون وقال الله تعالى إن ربك فعال لما يريد صدق الله العظيم وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام أكثروا ذكر هذه باللذات عن الموت أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله الحمد لله ألي ذات أزيم الصفات سميع السمات كبير الشان جليل القدر رفيع الذكر مطاع الأمر جليل البرهان فخيم الاسم مجيب الدعاء سريع الحساب شديد العقاب أليم العذاب عزيز السلطان ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى في كتابه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وجعلنا منهم اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وقال الله تعالى فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون قيموا الصلاة.